Today's guest is Caro, one of the most amazing people I've ever met. She survived cancer, bankruptcy, the loss of her husband to alcoholism, the loss of her home, and most importantly, her own self-doubt. What are you made of? I mean, what are you really made of? Most of us don't find out until we're confronted with tragedy in our life. I'm your host, Jim Waszak, and with our producer, Aelita Archbold, herself a survivor, we're going to bring you stories of people who have survived tragedy in their life. Our goal is to inspire you to take on the challenges in your life. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, and you'll be notified when new episodes are available.
What we place attention on is what grows. So keeping that in mind, if and when you go to a doctor and they say something is wrong with you, we have to take biopsy, it's cancer, don't just take their word for it. You have the power, potential, capacity within you to undo that. You can heal your life. A famous book, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, that's what helped me. A couple years ago when I was with my ex-boyfriend and we went in for my mammogram and they saw something that wasn't normal. They said, you have to come back for a biopsy. We believe you have breast cancer. And I said, no, I don't. They said, yes, you see right here, that shade, that shadow should not be there. I said, okay. I come back for the biopsy, and 2 weeks later, they check again. They do the mammogram, and they said, no, there must have been a misunderstanding. There was a confusion. And I said, no, why? They said, this is the first x-ray. This is the second one. That shadow's no longer there. I said, I know. And they said, well, we must have mixed it up. I said, no. They said, what did you do? I said, I have been giving myself more love than I ever have. I have taken these hands and trusted in divine source, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, placed them on my breast and told myself morning, afternoon, and night how amazing, healthy, beautiful, powerful they are. And that is why those x-rays are so different. And another couple months later, same thing with my uterus. We believe you have uterine cancer. And my boyfriend comes with me. What are we gonna do? I said, honey, the same thing I did for my breasts, I will do for my uterus, because it's a beautiful part of me. And because of things that happen in our past, we hold on to so much negative energy, resentment, and all of that. And yes, I was raped. And who knows if I still had unforgiveness in that area. That is a very vulnerable place. And until you heal and forgive and let go, not only forgive that individual that has caused the trauma, but forgive yourself for whatever you might be holding on to. Sure enough, they did the same thing. They did a biopsy. They said I have to come back in 2 weeks. I gave love to my uterus, to my ovaries, to every part of my body. And you go back and they say, no, everything's fine. Of course, everything's fine. You have the potential capacity to heal your body. Please remember that.
You've been through quite a bit, more than probably most people, but you still have a positive approach to things. What techniques or philosophies do you use to stay positive even with negative things occurring to you?
I think I've always been a positive person, so I'll share what I've assisted clients when they ask me that same question, because they do ask. I've always seen things from an optimistic perspective. So being positive has always been within me. But individuals that come to see me that have a negative or angry attitude, and you ask them to be positive, they really don't know where to get that from. It starts from a place of gratitude to me, Jim. So if someone says, you're losing your job tomorrow, how can you be grateful for the fact that you're going to lose your job tomorrow? Well, be grateful that you had it, right? Because you did have it. So as soon as you place attention on something positive, it takes away. You can't be angry and upset and just like, oh, killing someone and be extremely happy. So in order to remove that energy and shift you from that place, because we don't want to be nagging and negative and upset, and we want to be in that positive place, gratitude is the first thing. You have a car, and it's an old beater car, a lemon, we call it in Spanish, un limón. And you're upset every day with this car because, oh, I wish I had a new car. Oh, this car is so ugly. Oh, I wish it was, better, or, it's beat up or it dies on me. How are you expecting God, the universe, source, to give you a new car if you're not deserving of that new car because you're not appreciating the current one you have? So I think in every aspect, it would go back to gratitude.
You have techniques or suggestions or ideas about how to kind of get into that subconscious level where the real, action is occurring.
A few things that just come on my mind right now is every time you go to bed in a positive state. Thank your bed for the beautiful, restful, peaceful, amazing night's sleep you're going to have. It hasn't happened yet, but you can initiate it by placing your thoughts in that place. And when you get up, instead of social media, instead of getting up right away and going to get a cup of coffee or whatever it is that might stop you, take a few moments to be grateful. Wow, that was an amazing, restful sleep. And not only for what happened in the past, what's yet to come. I'm happy and grateful for this amazing day. I'm going to connect. You can make up whatever affirmation you want. I'm going to connect with amazing people. My day is going to go so smoothly. I'm going to be abundant. I'm going to be able to help other individuals and serve. People are going to be able to do that for me, and just initiate it. You mentioned that we co-create our life. So how important every thought, every emotion, every feeling that you're feeling, every word that comes out of your mouth, have it come from a lovely place. Because when that doesn't come, you're going to attract exactly what you're giving out. So if you're giving individuals blasphemy and blaming individuals, or when you're driving, yelling at drivers, all that energy is around you, and you're going to get more negative things happening in your life. So why not shift it and always come from a place of love and abundance? The left hand, our left side, feminine side, love and abundance. Energy comes around and releases through the right, which is our masculine side, fear and lack. Have more things come from that place of love and abundance, and this will be less and less and less.
Well, I guess I'm glad to see you associated the male portion with being right, because as a man, I can relate to that.
A lot of individuals say, why is this happening to me? I've never said that. I've always felt that there's reasons why things happen, and now being in the holistic wellness arena as I am, I have all of these experiences and how I've overcome them so that I can share with individuals, have that compassion and empathy because I've been there. And what's helped me might help them, and perhaps we can figure something else that can assist them. For those of you that have issues trying to forgive someone that did you wrong, or an ex-husband or an ex-boyfriend, instead of concentrating on what they did wrong that hurt you, concentrate on the beautiful pieces, the gems, the diamonds that they've shared with you. And that ex-boyfriend shared meditation with me. So Reiki is a Japanese healing modality that has been around for centuries, and the premise is it's universal life force energy. So in actuality, Reiki is love, and that's what fills my heart and soul, sharing love. So helping individuals find balance in their lives, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And that's through different modalities, whether it's forgiveness, whether it's lack of self-love, whether it's releasing anger, whether it's healing the inner child. There's a lot of different parts of it. But in the big spectrum, Reiki is universal life force energy. Reiki is love. My late husband was a lovely, lovely man. But 18 years of being in the middle of, you know, all that comes with alcoholism, and no arguments, no fights. But his addiction was so devastating that it was not only making him sick, but I was getting sick. And that would make two individuals sick, two parents. With having two children, I didn't feel that that was going anywhere. So that was the biggest decision I've ever had to make in my life, to decide that I can't work harder on his self-love and his healing than himself.
Right.
So that was the biggest, I mean, I was sick. Physically, I was emotionally sick with migraines. I had menorrhagia, excessive bleeding. I would have sinus infections every second or third month. I was anemic. I physically felt like I was dying, and emotionally also, because he was such a beautiful man and father to our children and provider, all these beautiful qualities, yet he had an addiction. I knew he was an alcoholic when we married, and he was such a beautiful, amazing person. I thought, because of our love, he's going to change. And because of our love, he'll go get help. And I tried the best I could, and he tried the best he could. And then the fact that we had the two children, and he was a beautiful soul. So all of those pieces of the puzzle together, it took me a year, Jim, to fill out the paperwork.
You had lost your job, I think.
Yes.
Was it not? So now you've gone through a divorce, you've lost your job.
He lost his job.
He lost his job. You're in financial difficulty, and you have two relatively young children.
Yes.
To be responsible for.
A 13-year-old daughter, a 9-year-old son at the time, and losing the house.
Was there a time when you lost faith, that you thought there was no way out?
I never lost faith. I recall telling my 13-year-old daughter and my 9-year-old son that I'm going to have to make difficult decisions, and for them to trust that I am making the best decisions for their well-being and my well-being. That Daddy wasn't strong enough to do what he had to do, but I needed to make sure I was there for them. And they turned to each other, and at the same time they looked at me, Jim, and they said, "Are you giving us up for adoption?" You don't think that kids would even think that. But the fact that we don't share with our kids situations because they're trying to protect them, I think causes them to make up their own thoughts and ideas. And that was obviously on the first thing on their mind. I'm like, absolutely not. But it's important to know that you're always checking in with your kids and letting them know, not in complete detail. I never, ever would have bashed their dad, but they knew that he was drunk and wasn't doing what he needed to do for himself, yet alone for them and for me, that we were losing the house, that he lost his job, and I was laid off also. But I always told them, it's very difficult right now, and we don't have money. I never lost faith. I believed that we were going to be okay. And I would tell the kids, Crystal, Matthew, I don't know how, but we're going to be okay. And Crystal was the sassy one, and she would say, what do you mean? How do you think we're going to be okay? We don't have this, we don't have that. And I said, I don't know how. We don't need to know how. I just know. I feel it in my heart and my gut. We're going to be okay. I have 9 brothers. 5 are older and 4 are younger. In Humboldt Park, the last house that we purchased in 1988, you can put your hand outside the window and you can buy drugs. That's how. I never did a drug. I never got into gangs. It's all around us. Doesn't mean you have to do what's around us. You can decide that you're going to be the person that's going to be different than your environment. Your environment does not create you. You get to live the you that you want. 2004, in front of our house, that house that I'm talking about, we purchased the house in 1988, and it was still bad all along. And my little brother, 23 years young, had just come October 28th from a pumpkin patch farm field trip with his daughter. His daughter was 4, his son was 1, and their mother was just 20, 21. And it was 3:15 in the afternoon. My mother had recently come out of the hospital that morning, and my brother walks in. I was at work. He walks in with the daughter. The daughter stays in the house in the kitchen with my mom. He walks down to help fix a car for a neighbor renter of my mother's in the basement. In Chicago, there's alleys. So they were trying to shoot at that guy, the neighbor that lived, because he was a gangbanger. My brother was in gangs and had gotten out because he had a baby. His girlfriend was pregnant again. And he was doing great. And he's standing there helping him, and they shoot from the alley, and they shoot him. A lot of people say the same thing and ask me, how can you just talk about it? And I said, I have to see the positive. What positive is there? What positive is there from the fact that your brother was killed? And I said, that's a horrible, I miss him every day. And it's a horrible feeling. But his little daughter was next to him. She had just gone up. My mother had just come out of the hospital and she was home. She could have been there too. It could have been more than one death. His death hurts me and makes me sad, but it could have been more. And the other thing is, just seeing it, the fact that it was so horrific and tragic, that he was shot in the head, and it just killed everything in his body, and he was in a coma for a day or two, and then we had to take him off of life support, as opposed to being shot and paralyzed or being in a coma for years. Certain people stay in a coma state for a long time, and there's always, 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 is what I'm trying to say, there's always positive in every situation, no matter how hard and tragic it is. I've been in house fires, I've been, drugged and raped. There's so many different things, Jim. There's always positives out of every situation if you choose to see it that way. I am living proof of that. That little shy, innocent girl from Humboldt Park with gangs and drugs to being a single mom, losing the father of my children, opening up a holistic wellness center, an international speaker, going to the Dominican Republic, sharing all of this there, Puerto Rico, universities in Mexico. It's all available. So I don't have anything in specific like this is next. I just know that amazing, beautiful, great things are happening. Next Thursday, I'm going to be the Master of Ceremonies for Volume 5. And Volume 1, I was such a nervous wreck on that stage. And now I am the Master of Ceremonies for Volume 5. I was it for Volume 3 a couple weeks ago for Latina Talks. It's all available. And I didn't know I could do that. I had no idea. And I flow. Just like I'm speaking here, I have no nervousness whatsoever in front of 700 people. But 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. It's available. If it happened to me, for me, it could happen for you. Highly recommend that you come out of that comfort zone and experience. The challenge is for you to love yourself enough to get yourself out of whatever situation you are that's not good for you, that's not healthy, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So challenge yourself to love yourself enough that you will get yourself out of that situation with anything that we've shared so far, a support person, alone time, meditation, believing in yourself, overcoming that and crossing that fear. Share with us what you've decided that's going to be your challenge to overcome, and whoever you select can get an autographed copy of my book. AlightAtTheEnd.com, where you can call me. My cell phone number is 630-200-8075. I would like to demonstrate an activity to help you see life a little differently, perhaps. We have in this beautiful little box 12 golf balls, and I'm going to put them in here at the moment so that you can visualize this jar. This jar is going to symbolize your life. And in your life, there's many things that occur that you are full of. There's family. These are the important things in your life. Hope, compassion, love, faith, friends. There's joy. There's peace. All of these are very, very important in our life. Health. Without health, we have issues. Family, more love. So those are the important things in life. There's other things we're gonna do with this that are important but not that important, you know, that you can live without. And those would be things like your job and school and situations of that nature. And that goes into your life. And as you notice, those things go in between the important things. And then there's other situations, emotions that we go through. Perhaps it could be when you're driving and someone cuts you off and you get upset and you get angry, or you're young and your parents don't let you do what you want. These are those emotions, and those can go in between all the important things and the not so important things, and they could follow in and they fill the spaces, and there's space for more because things like that happen in life. And much more of this can go in. Why? Because life has its ups and downs and things happen. Now, we did about a third is left. What I'd like to show you is what happens when you don't place important things first in your life. This is our life. Let's say we put as much sand as in the first one of those things that worry you, that bother you, that don't make you happy, that make you angry. If you put that first as the most important thing in your life, and then you put the so-so, and we put the whole jar of these medium things that are important but not very important, then when you get to the important things in your life, hope, love, friends, family, what happens? What happens? There's no space. This is the same amount as in here, and yet we have no more space because our life has been filled with things that are not important. So the premise of this activity, in order for you to be aware that faith, love, passion, compassion, friends, health, those are the important things. Place attention on those important things in your life and don't allow the little things that really don't mean as much. Who cares if someone cuts in front of you when they're driving? I mean, if you're safe, you're safe. And always, always say to yourself, I am safe and protected always. Don't concentrate on the opposite. Thank you so much, and I hope this little exercise, visual exercise, helps you visualize the importance of placing attention on the important things first, next, the little things, and the minuscule things, that really doesn't matter, and it falls in between. You could even fit more in here. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope and pray that you have the understanding and the self-love and compassion to get to where you need to go, the next step of your journey. Blessings.
Thank you for your courage and openness, being willing to share this in the intent of helping someone else overcome their challenges. So we
Thank
really
you,
appreciate
Dad.
that, and I'm sure they do too. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, and you'll be notified when new episodes are available.